If you're curious on how you can secure a spot in Singapore Management University, or just curious about how the application process works, in today's video I'll be sharing more about how I managed to secure a spot in SMU, and hopefully that gives you some insights and tips on how you can also further increase your chance into securing a spot in SMU. So without further ado, I will dive straight into the application process in SMU. So firstly, or more important things that you have to do is write your cumulative GPA. And the reason why this is so important is because a GPA of at least above 3.85 or 3.8 to and above will most probably help you increase your chances a lot in securing a spot in Singapore Management University. Because if your GPA is good, they'll ask you to apply into SMU very early on, probably about the end of your 5th semester. When you proceed to your 6th semester, they'll ask you to apply then, and you can have a head start in your application process compared to all your other peers who have to apply when the application process opens later on. So having a good GPA is very crucial, especially if you want to secure a spot in SMU. So next is your work experience. So your work experience, is, and they say please list the 3 most recent work experience. For me, I'll rank it the most recent and the most important work experience. And one of the things that you have to write, is your job responsibilities. I believe they see your job designation and your job responsibilities. So for job responsibilities, I would suggest you to break it up into 2 parts. Firstly, what is it that you do in your job, right? And secondly, tell them something impressive that you have done in that role. So for example, my example was I interned at the Common Ground. I'm very straightforward. I just say I interned at the Common Ground, which is a co-working space company. My job is to increase the sales, increase occupancy rate, partnerships, and to make the community a better space for entrepreneurs. And what was some of the impressive things that I've done was that instead of focusing on outbound leads or reaching out to customers, I focus on attracting customers in. For example, with my own referral program, for example, with coming out and reaching out to partnerships or partners or businesses around the neighborhood to form partnership to make it more attractive for people looking for to find a co-working space, right? So that was some of the strategy and impressive thing that I've done in that job. So that is how I would write my job responsibilities, alright? For my achievements, I only wrote 1 CCA. I know that they say you can write at least maximum 5 CCAs, but I really think that you should just write a CCA that is the most important one to you. You don't have to write 5 CCAs or what. Just write one that is really good and good enough. So how I wrote my description for my CCA was that I state what was the mission of my CCA, right? And then I say the events or the kind of things that you do in this CCA. So for example, I was from the Sandbox Advocate, which was an interest group of Singapore, and its mission was to be the definitive polytechnic for budding entrepreneurs. We act as the marketing arm for the Sandbox and focuses on innovation and entrepreneurship. So that was kind of the overarching mission of my CCA. And what are the kind of things that we do? We compromises of a group of passionate students who strive to focus on innovation, entrepreneurship, organize events like TEDx Youth at Ngee Ann Polytechnic, Idea Slam, a pitching competition, and several workshops to help cultivate an ecosystem of entrepreneurs. These were the things and the events and activities that my CCA organized. Next is your personal statement. I know they say that this one is optional, but please go and do it because I believe this is what separates you from all the other candidates. And the question they ask is, what is your most outstanding achievements? So you can write more than 1, and also the maximum word that you can write is 300 words. Very little words. So my suggestion to you when you're writing your personal statement is, firstly, try to show the link between your achievements and what the course does. It would make no sense if you're applying to a medical course, but your greatest achievement is something related to business. So there must be some sort of linkage between your achievements and what the course does. Number 2, the second point, it doesn't necessarily have to be your CCA. Be creative. It can be your CCA, internship, outside ventures, or even your own volunteering activities and stuff like that. So be creative and don't just limit yourself to CCAs. This is your greatest, your most outstanding achievements. thus far in your life. So be bold and write and express it, with confidence in this personal statement. And another very, very important point that I wrote in my personal statement was giving numbers, providing statistics, because numbers, right, really make you more credible. It backs up whatever that you are saying, and right, you can say that, oh, I've done this, that, but when numbers come in and say, oh yes, I've done this, that, and because of that, I generated $16,000 of revenue. I invited 400 people to join my TEDx event, actually really producing results, which I believe is something that the school wants to see in your personal statement as well. How do you get to the stage of writing this personal statement? So for me, how I did it was, firstly, right, when I read the question on most outstanding achievements, I mind map all the achievements that I've done in my life, right? I say, okay, I have done this, that. Then I look through it and I say, okay, I think the most outstanding one were this, and I circle those that were the most outstanding one. And then I dive in further, okay, what are those things that I've done that would really set me apart from everyone else? And that's how I branch out further and further and make sure that, my personal essay and my personal statement, right, is something that is filled with content. And secondly, my advice also is to make draft. Don't limit yourself with the word count of 300 words. Your first draft can be no word count, right? Express everything you want to write, right, into your personal statement. Highlight those things that are important, and then slowly reduce the word counts of those things that are irrelevant. So that is something that you can implement and it will help you write a better personal statement. And the third one is to find someone to read your personal statement. For example, it can be a lecturer, your parents, your friends. And when you have another perspective of your personal statement, it can give you greater insight on how you can improve on certain things. And last but not least, read out your personal statement, because sometimes when you read out, right, you realize that, hey, this part doesn't really link with this part, and it doesn't really sound very cohesive actually, or maybe I can improve on this part because it's quite vague. So reading out loud your personal statement really helps you to further solidify your personal statement. And moving on, we have quick takes. So quick takes is divided into two components. First component, it asks two questions. What is your greatest talent or skill, and how have you developed that skill of yours or talent over time? First thing, identify and be very direct with what is your greatest talent or skill. Alright, my greatest talent or skill was effective communication and converting that into specific objectives. And how have I demonstrated that was through the sales that I have achieved in my internship and the successful TED invitation of TEDx speakers. So that was how I demonstrated my talent. And the next part component is, what have you done to make your school or your community a better place? When you answer this question, right, you must have some sort of foresight when you are early on in your poly days and you are probably year 1, year 2 or just started your polytechnic journey, right? Go and think about what you want to do in your polytechnic. As much as you want to focus on your studies, go and think about which CCA will really value add to me, which CCA would help the school or the community, or what can I do that can really make a difference or impact in other people's life. So for me, right, I joined this CCA Sandbox very early on because I felt it aligned with innovation, entrepreneurship, and it would value add to my portfolio. So it was very easy for me to answer this question because I would say, being in my CCA, I managed to lead a team, bring TEDx to Nia Polytechnic, help inspire and accelerate their personal growth, dwell deeper into issues affecting them and around the world. I help transform students' ideas into action, which in turn bring about greater good through innovation. And that was how I made my school a better place, because with the help of my CCA. It doesn't only have to be your CCA, it can be your own business, your internship. Don't just go and have fun and then waste your time out, because time in poly passes very fast. It's important to have fun, but it's also important to think ahead, to see the CCAs or the things that you do, how does it value add to your application process, right, in universities. And last but not least, the last thing that you have to write a lot about is your scholarship personal essay. And the scholarship personal essay, they ask you this question on what is the most significant challenge you have faced and how did you overcome this challenge. So let me say first, I didn't get the scholarship from SMU, but I managed to secure an interview slot for the scholarship, and I believe that my personal essay managed to help me get the interview slot lah. So I don't think it's that bad. I think it's the interview where I screw up and I didn't get a scholarship. But regardless, I want to share with you guys my scholarship personal essay, and I think and I'll be showing it over here. You can go and take a look and read it. But don't focus so much on the severity of this challenge. Focus of your personal statement should be on how do you manage to overcome this obstacle and this challenge, because I think that's what they want to see. You know, how you manage to get out of the situation and become better, and not so much about how shitty your life is in that particular situation or challenge. So I'll just briefly summarize my scholarship personal essay. I say that, you know, I was graded a C grade in my internship, even though I was the third highest in sales. My boss scolded me and said that if I were to make one more mistake, I was going to do a labor, manual, saikang work, you know, and that really put a lot of pressure on me, because his expectations were all very high and it was very hard to achieve. So I was very disheartened, disappointed, discouraged, dejected, yes to everything. But I realized one thing is that I always have the power and the choice to choose how I feel about the situation, and it made me overcome my fear of judgments, and it allowed me to empower myself to go beyond these challenges. And that is how I managed to secure $16,000 of revenue, form partnerships, and even managing to get an A grade from a boss who demands such a high expectations. Yep. So that is pretty much it for everything that you have to write in the SMU application portal, and hopefully this gives you some advice on how you can maybe structure your replies for these questions and increase your chances into securing a spot in SMU yourself. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope it has been helpful and in securing your spot into SMU, and I hope to see you guys soon in this YouTube channel again. So bye bye.